The difference from my first classic to my 10th classic, as far as emotions and concentration and focus, completely just complete opposite spectrums. My first classic, I was an absolute basket case, just wound up in the media, the blitz, the excitement, and just, I mean, I was having fun. Don't get me wrong, I still have fun. But now I realize that the classic, I treat it as a regular tournament. Bottom line is I got to go out and I catch them. But going back now, and I've looked at, I remember that classic, Denny Brower won it. I had every opportunity to win that classic. But my adrenaline was going at such a high level, I couldn't focus and concentrate well enough. I had the bites to win it. I mean, I watched 5-pounders, 6-pounders come undone on docks. But I wasn't thinking clearly. I had a good game plan at the time, but I was still kind of scatterbrained and not fishing thoroughly and correctly. Now I've matured enough. I've got enough, experience over 20 some odd years, 25 years of tournament fishing and 10 Bassmasters Classics to realize that when it comes time, I'm able to focus on the job at hand. And I noticed a huge difference. I went into day 3 of the Bassmasters Classic with a chance to win. And I was calm as a cucumber day 3. Until about the last 2 hours. I wasn't so calm. That's right, I need one more bite, I really thought I needed one more bite. But I know that there's a whole lot of guys that wouldn't have been that calm. And I guess that's been one of my strengths over the years, is my mental toughness and be able to stay focused on high pressure situations. Tournament fishing is it's all head games. It is. Most people are their own worst enemy. And I've been my own worst enemy, I can't tell you how many times. But I've also made conscious decisions to look back and say, you are a dummy for doing that. And I hurt myself in a lot of situations. So trying to learn from the mistakes. I mean, hopefully you do as well, all of you. When you do something once and it don't work, don't do it again. that's kind of what I've learned to do. And I think that's my tournament fishing over the last 10 years, I think, has shown that, or especially the last 8-9 years. I finally feel comfortable with the decisions I make, and it's definitely showing. So yeah, the difference between 98 and now, wow, that was two completely different anglers on the water. Almost had the same outcomes, but if I had today's mental toughness and focus, Denny, I would have spanked you back then. Yeah, but I didn't. I want to lay out the area that I was fishing. Red River, it's a red river. When it's raining, that's the muddiest river you'll ever see in your life. But they got a bunch of little wing dams and dikes, and it creates some little backwaters and these little flat flooded backwater lakes. And the area, Caspiana was the name of the area I was in, I guess. And it is one of the biggest community holes. Big stump-filled flats, channels. It's four-wheel driving over stumps all day long, in and out of this stuff. But the primary area where everybody it's called a nickname called the Bobo Hole, because I guess Dalton Bobo won a tournament there years ago. It was in the very back of this Caspiana Lake, and that's where the majority of the crowd of competitors went to. You had Boyd Duckett, Aaron Martins, Kevin Worth, Steve Kennedy, Rick Klein, who else? There's probably 5 more anglers in there. It got crowded. First day of the tournament, and this is all in that very back area, this very back end of this lake. I fished out the front, out the mouth. I was probably about a quarter mile or so from these guys. Boyd Duckett's leading the tournament the first day. He catches 20 pounds out of there. And Aaron had a good day. Kevin Worth had a good day. They really caught him. But what happened, I think, is they had too many boats and not enough fish. They started running through fish. There's a lot of boats back there banging around on stumps, and I really think it helped me because it shut those fish down back there. Now they had to idle, they all idled in and out of this little ditch that came all the way out to the mouth where I was at. They all ran over the top of my fish and around them. But there was long enough pauses and breaks in between boats coming in and out that my fish got to settle down and I could pick one off here and there. But it was, I felt bad. Todd Faircloth, I love him to death. I mean, poor guy, you know, he almost won Angler of the Year last year. An area that I fished on day 2, I'd never even fished before, but it's like 50 yards where this little break I'd been fishing. But it looked good. It's like, I'm sitting there looking on the outside, I was like, there really should be fish over there. And Todd Faircloth fished it the first day. He kind of passed through it and then left. And I said, let's go in there and try it. I go in there, I catch 22 pounds out of there. But I felt bad for Todd because he's fishing over here and he keeps he's not catching the fish. And I jack a good one, and I've got 20 spectator boats, and they hooting and hollering and cheering. And he's like, yeah! And he has to hear this. And I know the guys back in the lake had to keep hearing it too. So day 2 was a little daunting on a few of the guys because they struggled that day. And I'm out there, I got a 6 and a 6 and a 4 and 3s, and I'm calling 3-pounders, and the fans were going crazy. And so it was a fun moment, but I just know that those guys back in that little lake were like, they were so pissed. Day 3, you know, day 3 made me a little nervous because the spectator boats, there was no spectator boats back there with them. A lot of the competitors weren't back there. There's only about 3 guys that really stayed back there and fished them. Boyd Duckett, Kevin Worth, Kennedy was back there, and there's one other guy. But it was pretty quiet back there that day. I'm thinking, man, these guys might really bust them back there because it's calm, nobody's fishing, maybe these fish will settle down. But that cold front definitely hurt that area, or they just pushed all the fish out. I think they pushed all the fish out to me. So, but that was a scenario. I mean, I was fishing the mouth of this little lake, and all these fish got to go through this little mouth to get back in this big spawning area, and so I was right at the funnel essentially. I picked the right spot.